You think you can lie your way out of this? The voice was flat, clipped. His knuckles gripped the polished table. Go ahead, explain to everyone what you did, she said, sharp as a winter nail. He shook his head, color draining. You have nothing on me. I have the original deed, and every cash log from 1972 to 1995. Want to see them, or should I hand them to the judge? Her hand hovered over the battered file, eyes never leaving his. The clock's second hand thudded. Someone in the back coughed. You're bluffing. She slid the metal box an inch forward. Try me right now. He lunged for it, voice cracking. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, she cut in. 60 days, that's all you had left. You'll regret this, you don't know what you're starting. But she didn't look away. How did she get here to this room, across from the one man who for years erased her from every family ledger? To understand that, go back to the rainy morning in Vermont when the world thought she'd already lost. $33.17. That's what the ATM slip said after Amanda blinked against the sleeting March rain, hood pulled tight as she pressed her cheek to the steamed window of her old Mazda. Addison, her 7-year-old, sprawled in the backseat, murmuring into a battered stuffed cat. Are you hungry? Amanda's voice caught as she twisted to look at her daughter, her fingers raw from clutching the keys. Addison tugged at her sleeve, blue eyes wide and wary. Can we get pancakes like before? Amanda flinched, then managed a weak smile, hiding the slip. How about we save that for tomorrow, kiddo? I've got granola bars. A beat passed, rain drilled the windshield. Addison shrugged, voice small. Do we have to see Uncle Peter today? We don't have to stay long. Amanda pressed her lips together, recalling the last phone conversation, Uncle Peter's brusque tone, the way he slammed down the facts. Granddad's house on County Road 6 was all that's left, and it's falling apart, Amanda. Don't expect more. Her brother Matt had laughed through the static. Maybe you'll find a haunted attic, or just mold. Then, at the funeral, Uncle Peter's voice, chilly in the hushed church basement, echoed back, Not everyone gets a second chance, Amanda. Some folks have to accept their place. He'd nudged her aside for the attorney, a fat envelope exchanged behind his back. Amanda remembered how the family huddled in the corner, Peter, his new wife Cecily, cousin Brent, each with sidelong glances and thin smiles. When her name was read aloud for the deed, the room titters had been almost obligatory. That place is a real dump, Cecily had sneered. Hope you brought a tent. Amanda gripped Addison's hand, stepping across the puddled gravel up to the house, 3 boarded up, sagging stories, the old stonework split by maple roots. As her daughter's cowprint rain boots smacked the warped porch, Amanda's eye caught a rusted nail poking up between 2 slats. Something felt wrong. The porch's rocking chair barely moved, yet the wood beneath it looked newer. She knelt and pressed on the plank. It thunked hollow. Addison, she whispered, did you see anyone come here besides Peter? Addison shook her head, silent, clutching her cat. Amanda peered closer, a faint line tracing a hidden seam beneath the chair's leg. If you've ever felt dismissed while someone else pocketed what was rightfully yours, and knew somehow, somewhere, a piece of truth was left for you, then this story just might matter. Amanda's fingers trembled as she circled the warped house, dragging Addison's suitcase behind her. Each loose board and moss-gummed window felt like a laugh in her face. Uncle Peter's words echoing, nothing of value, the others shuffling awkwardly in their Sunday jackets, one cousin arching an eyebrow as Amanda signed paper after paper with ink that barely caught on the damp wood table. Sleet crackled against her borrowed jacket. The sky barely lifted off gray as Amanda wrestled the old lock on the front door. Addison, half hiding behind Amanda, pointed, Why's the porch look weird? Amanda pressed a finger to her lips, studying the faint roundness in the wood where the rocking chair settled. Her mind whirred, her grandfather's stories about keeping what was important close to the bones of the house, and she pocketed that thought. Inside, the air was dense with cold. Dust motes rose in the faintest shaft of daylight. Stay close, Amanda murmured, voice firmer than she felt. Addison towed a rug aside and bent to look at the floor. It smells like apples. Amanda half smiled. Your great-granddad made cider. Bet the place never forgot. She set their bags down and stood a long moment, letting the exhaustion ripple through her. Her phone buzzed, a text, just 2 words from Peter, "You're welcome." She didn't respond, the hollowness in her chest mixing sharp and electric with a new, unfamiliar urge. Amanda turned to Addison, summoning a little brightness. "Let's pick a room with a good window, okay?" Addison grinned, one with a swing outside. Amanda nodded, wishing hope came as easily as a child's demands. What did Uncle Peter mean at the funeral? Addison mumbled as Amanda eased the last suitcase onto the faded bedspread. Amanda swallowed. Sometimes grown-ups fight over things that shouldn't matter, that's all. But she doubted even Addison bought it. With her daughter tucked close, Amanda made a silent promise. She'd find out why Uncle Peter was so determined to keep her out, what secrets clung to the bones of this house, and she'd wrestle whatever was buried from his grip. The rocking chair creaked as the wind rattled the boards. Night dropped, cold and stubborn, but Amanda's mind kept circling the hollow sound beneath the porch. Morning had not brought relief. It brought fog, curling over the hills of Addison County, Vermont, shrouding peeling paint and frostbitten vines. Addison huddled by the unlit fireplace, coloring. Amanda rummaged through yellowed stacks of mail piled on the kitchen counter, mostly threatening notices and tax forms stamped delinquent in red. Her phone pinged again, Cecily this time, "Better call insurance. Place probably owes more than it's worth." Amanda grit her teeth, swiping away the message. She pocketed the phone, muttering, "Not yours, Cecily. Never was." She grabbed Addie's raincoat from the hook and headed out. "Be back in a few, champ. I'll be right outside, promise." The porch felt even more warped in daylight. Amanda hoisted the rocking chair aside, knelt, and pressed on the loose board again. It groaned, a seam running not across but along. Recalling how her grandfather used to use his house key for everything, Amanda fetched her old ring and pushed the stubby key into a groove. The wood shifted, releasing a cold, earthy smell. Inside was a metal hatch just wide enough for a lunch box. Amanda slid a trembling hand in, fingers brushing cold steel. Addison's voice piped from the door, "What are you looking for?" Amanda forced a smile, "Just checking the porch, sweetie, loose boards." Her pulse leaped, hidden beneath the hatch, a box old and battered but startlingly heavy. Amanda wiped it off, heart galloping. She scanned the yard, no one but a faint hint of tire tracks in the old drive. She closed the hatch, set the chair back, and slid the box under her coat. Inside, she bolted the door, glancing at Addison, who watched cartoons with the volume low. Amanda fumbled with the box's clasp. It snapped open with a tiny shriek. Inside, stacks of crisp, untouched $100 bills, rubber-banded tight. Fat deposit envelopes stamped 1938, 1942, 1955. She shuffled through more bills, more envelopes. She jerked back, mouth dry. On top, a wrinkled envelope, deed hold for Amanda written in a curling hand. Below, another, logbooks cash trust for the right heart. Her legs buckled, hands shaking. In this battered metal box lay what had kept her grandfather anchored to this broken place, and perhaps the why behind Uncle Peter's petty, practiced cruelty. Amanda's world narrowed to the thin slips of green and brown, the crisp signature on the deed. Her heart crashed in her ears. She barely heard Addison whisper, "Mommy, you look scared." Amanda pressed a shaky hand to her daughter's back, whispering, "It's okay, Addie." But it was everything except simple. The sun never properly rose that day, just paled around the edges. Amanda tucked the envelopes deep into her coat pocket, voice thin as she read the cover sheet. This property, legally described as 177 acres, not 33. Her grandfather's tight handwriting detailed hidden lot lines and old cash deposits, some faded ink, but the numbers unmistakable. It was more land than anyone had admitted, and under her thumbprint the old man's initials, FEH. Amanda snatched her phone. No reception, no bars, just the growing suspicion that the others, Peter, Cecily, cousin Brent, knew. Or worse, that they'd maneuvered every step to keep her from finding the real value crammed in this battered house. Addison traced a smiley face on the fogged kitchen window. Amanda hugged her, whispering fiercely, "No one gets to decide what we deserve, not this time." For the next hours, Amanda pored over the logbook. Meticulously typed columns, cash deposited at the old Addison Bank, every entry initialed FE or rarely DKH. Some years, $12, $0, $19, $300, the amount swelling after the war, then leveling until 1986. Addison hovered, watching. "What's that, Mom?" "Old notes," Amanda said, wavering. "Family records." But her chest screamed, "It's money. Real, impossible outsider money." Amanda's breath came too fast. The house, for all its rot, had not forgotten. She counted quietly. There had to be at least 4 dozen bundles, maybe more. A crude calculation, there could be upwards of $3 million, even more if some of the envelopes predated inflation spikes. Amanda rifled through deeds, tracing the survey lines on faded blueprints, 5 separate parcels, some marked sold, some held. The 33-acre property she'd been told she inherited was only a segment. So why did the lawyer, and especially Uncle Peter, insist on just the 33 acres, whose initials were on the newer logbooks, DKH, when she'd never heard of any heart with those initials? Amanda's thoughts scrambled, trying to recall old stories, half-remembered from drowsy childhood afternoons. Something about keeping things out of developers' hands and never trust the city men with the white shoes. Amanda's plan crystallized. She would need help, but first she had to make sure Addison was safe. "Addie, you want to go to the library?" Amanda pitched, her voice light. Addison wrinkled her nose, then grinned. "Can we get cocoa after?" Amanda nodded, feeling the world tilt, between terror and determination. They trekked through mud and slush, Amanda scanning every face for a sign of Peter or any of the others. At the tiny brick-walled library a mile away, Amanda left Addison in the children's nook, glancing every few minutes to check for the familiar cowprint boots on the play mat. Amanda dialed the one person left who might help, Lee, her college roommate turned local attorney. Lee answered with a voice like black coffee, direct, no nonsense. "Amanda, haven't heard from you in years. What's wrong?" "I found cash, lots of it. Deeds, old bank logs. I need someone I can trust." Lee's chair squeaked. "How much money are we talking?" "Millions, and it's supposed to be mine." A pause. "Who else knows?" "Peter, he handled the estate after Dad died. Everything went through the lawyer he picked." Lee exhaled. "Whatever's going on isn't just about a dumpy house then. Come to my office. We'll get coffee. Don't let anyone see those documents. I mean it." Amanda squared her shoulders. "I won't." As she hung up, Amanda caught Addison's reflection. Eyes wide, chin tilted, stubborn. Time wasn't on their side. She remembered Peter's threat. 60 days, Amanda, and it'll all be sorted for good. That's the law. After the divorce is civil, nobody can touch the assets. Amanda tightened her grip on the shoulder bag, the metal box knocking hard against her thigh. Lee's office creaked with old radiators and stacks of legal pads. Amanda poured out the evidence in shaky piles, the cash, the deed, faded blueprints spread wide. Lee listened, eyes flinty, as Amanda traced the boundaries with a finger. "It's 5 times the acreage I was told," Amanda whispered, "and the cash must have been updated until the 80s. But the records say my share is almost nothing. Why?" Lee frowned, sifting through deeds. "This isn't just an error. Peter and his lawyer. They might have fraudulently transferred assets, classic bait for a developer. That new turnpike project just started, right?" Amanda nodded. "Peter mentioned a deal last year, said we'd get stuck paying taxes if we didn't let him take care of it." Lee stabbed a finger at the fine print. This original deed trumps everything if it's properly proved. The cash logbooks, if they match deposits, it's ironclad. You need an estate specialist and a forensic accountant. Amanda glanced at the clock. 60 days until Peter's divorce finalizes and all these assets are locked. Lee set her jaw. That's plenty of time if we work fast and quietly, but if he finds out too soon. Amanda's hand shook. He'll bury us in lawyers. Lee hesitated. He can't if you have the originals. Did you make copies? Not yet. Lee gathered the piles. I've got a scanner in back. Stay put, don't let anyone in. Amanda nodded, tension snapping in her joints. Lee returned with copies, the original box locked in her desk. She typed rapidly, lining up estate law contacts and setting reminders. Then Lee looked up, face grave. This is going to get ugly. Are you ready to see how far he'll go? Amanda didn't flinch. Let him try. Only then did Amanda realize she wasn't just fighting for the past. She was fighting for Addison's right to a future nobody could buy out. They worked through the night, Amanda sleeping fitfully on Lee's battered couch. By dawn, Lee had a plan outlined, each paper marked with dates: probate filing, auditor appointment, court challenge. Amanda braced herself. The sun bled weakly across the parking lot, bringing no warmth. Amanda hurried Addison into Lee's car, her own still hidden in the library lot. Lee's legal contacts, Stern and White, agreed to take on the case, pressing Peter's lawyer with demands for documentation. Amanda, chilled but resolute, signed every form Lee produced. Lee's phone buzzed with rapid-fire messages, her voice low and anxious. They're stonewalling. Peter claims the property is just 33 acres and that you waived any right to the cash by not contesting the original will. Amanda's jaw tightened. That will wasn't real, it was altered. Lee locked eyes with Amanda. Then we'll prove it. Amanda hugged Addison. You ready to be brave for a while longer? Addison nodded serious. I'm always brave. Mid-morning, Lee announced, we've got 47 days before the divorce settlement. If we file before then, the assets are up for review. If not, they vanish behind his spouse's legal firewall. Amanda hissed, that's why he rushed the funeral, why he kept me out. Lee grinned, let's make it impossible for him to hide. Amanda embarked toward the only place she hadn't checked, the old gas station near the state line, where Peter sometimes handled business. They drove south, Addison clutching her cat, eyes wary. A half-dozen faded fuel pumps ringed the weedy lot, the steel beams flaking. Amanda scoured the grounds, guided by stray childhood memory, Peter vanishing behind the garage and a scuffled patch of gravel where deliveries once arrived. She found nothing but a few liquor bottles and a scattering of tire tracks. At dusk, Amanda caught sight of a silver Subaru idling by the post office, Cecily at the wheel. A flick of headlights and the car sped off. Amanda's gut churned. She called Lee. I think they're watching the post office. Should I stay put? Lee stiffened. Don't use the mail, hand deliver everything, and keep that box close. Amanda doubled back to the house, lights off. She bundled Addison into bed, then crept outside and reset the porch hatch, re-hiding the original documents. Her phone buzzed, unknown caller. Peter's voice spat through the static. Stop this, Amanda, you're making a mess. I can still fix things, but you'd better quit digging. She spoke flatly, I'm not scared. The house is mine, so is the rest. A click, silence. Amanda crept back inside, hands shaking on the lock. When she awoke, Lee's text glowed. Meet with a state auditor at 10, bring evidence, we'll explain. Amanda prepared Addison's lunch with trembling hands. Today's important, she whispered to her daughter. We do everything together. Addison grinned, cat tucked under one arm. The courthouse steps glistened with black ice as Amanda trotted in, metal box clutched against her ribs, Addison beside her. Inside, Leah waited, flanked by a tall woman with copper hair, forensic auditor bar. Barr smiled thinly. You're the one who found the logbooks. You know, this is the kind of thing that changes people's lives. Amanda passed over the box, feeling the world narrowing to a spotlight. Barr thumbed a bill, nodded. Every deposit trackable, every bundle legal if you can prove provenance. Amanda tapped the deed. My grandfather made sure I'd find this. Lee stepped in. We'll copy the entire file. No originals leave this office except under court order. Barr leaned in. If you want justice, you'll have to be visible, not just right. Are you up for a fight this loud? Amanda's eyes burned from fatigue and fear. If Addison's safe and the truth comes out, yes, I am. Lee laid out the plan in brisk, legal terms. We file a motion to freeze the sale, subpoena all business records, petition the court for a full audit. Amanda glanced at Addison, thumb tracing the edge of her daughter's wrist. What happens to Peter? Barr weighed each word. If fraud is proved, the court can seize every asset he tried to hide. It'll put him in a position where he has to leverage what's left or lose everything. Amanda stood. Then let's finish what he started. They filed that morning. As news trickled up, the Hart estate challenged, a logbook with decades of cash hoarded by men long dead unearthed. The phone calls started. Peter, Cecily, cousin Brent, rage, threats, wails of innocence. Amanda's hands didn't shake anymore. She was tired of being the family's quiet shadow. As the weeks collapsed into days, Amanda received a message from a number she didn't recognize. The text was short. I have papers. Peter lied. Meet me. Amanda hesitated, recognizing the area code belonged to Cecily. They met at the faded diner on Route 7. Cecily wore sunglasses even at dusk, fingers trembling as she slid a brown envelope across the vinegar-smudged table. He's divorcing me. Wants to keep it all, said UD Cave. Amanda's voice was soft but unyielding. Why help me? Cecily snorted, bitter. Because he never cared about me or you or anyone. He's selling to a developer, pocketing everything. Offered me nothing. Amanda peered through the envelope's contents, handwritten memos, scanned emails, Peter's scribbled line. Amanda gets 33 acres, rests for us. Keep her away. Make sure Grandpa's box disappears. Cecily's voice frayed. I'll testify if you get me something in the settlement. I want out. Amanda stared, weighing mercy against memory. You'll testify. Cecily nodded. Under oath, just get me clear of him. Amanda shook her hand, sealing an uneasy truce. She left the diner feeling lighter, even as snow began to drift. The court date was set, 48 days since Amanda's arrival in Vermont. She prepared, scanned every document, filed every motion. Lee arranged subpoenas. Cecily's attorney confirmed she'd testify. Addison pressed a smiley face to the courthouse window, whispering, Are you scared, Mom? Amanda smoothed her daughter's hair. Not anymore. The Hart probate hearing was packed. County clerks, neighbors, distant relatives, even a reporter hunched in the back. Amanda entered, evidence folder slick in her hand, Addison at Lee's side. Peter sat at the table's far end, furious, tight-lipped, lawyer whispering urgently. The judge, barrel-chested and dry, started droning through introductions. Peter broke in, Your Honor, there's been a mistake. The property in question is 33 acres, not a foot more. My cousin Amanda is confused. Amanda slid the deed forward, voice even. This is the original deed, sir. 177 acres, last filed 1935, held in trust for FEH direct descendants. I am his only living direct descendant. The courtroom stiffened. Peter's lawyer scoffed. That deed is out of date. Lee cut in, filed, signed, and recorded. The cash logbooks corroborate trust continuity. There are also emails here. She held up Cecily's envelope, admitting knowledge of concealed parcels. Peter blanched, his hands twitched. The judge lifted a brow. Mr. Hart, care to explain these discrepancies? The court will review every document provided. Peter snapped, They're forgeries, my lawyer said. Lee's mouth curled. Maybe your lawyer would like to explain the source of these cash bundles, each serial numbered, never deposited, until Amanda's arrival compelled an audit. The auditor testified, voice clipped. Every deposit can be tracked. The cash is real, and in this box were logbooks signed by FEH and another DKH, Peter's late father. Peter tried to interrupt. This is all a misunderstanding. Judge silenced him. Amanda pulled the battered metal box from her bag, thumping it on the table. You think you can lie your way out of this? Her voice echoed, the air charged. Peter gripped the table, knuckles yellow. He stammered, you have nothing on me. Amanda's hand hovered over the file. I have the original deed, and every cash log from 1972 to 1995. Want to see them, or should I hand them to the judge? A cough from the back row. He tried bluster, you're bluffing. She nudged the box forward, steady as ice. Try me right now. He lunged, voice desperate. You don't understand. Amanda heard her heart banging against her sternum. Flashes of Addison's smile, Cecily's trembling hand, the feel of the slick boards beneath her knees that first cold morning. I understand perfectly, Amanda cut in. 60 days, that's all you had left. He spat, you'll regret this. You don't know what you're starting. She held his stare, unflinching. It's over, Peter. This is where your story runs out of road. The judge's gavel cracked. Court will recess for evidence review. Marshal, Mr. Hart is not to leave this building. Cecily in the witness row nodded at Amanda, relief warring with exhaustion. Peter sagged, everything about him shrinking as the metal box was sealed as evidence. Amanda led Addison outside, the cold air bracing. News spread quickly. Peter stripped of all assets, property restored, home and cash seized under fraud statutes. His divorce provided nothing. Cecily's testimony paved her exit with a modest settlement. Neighbors once silent now offered smiles, casseroles, and awkward apologies. A month later, the once ruined house glowed with new windows and a painted porch. Now every Saturday, Amanda hosted neighbors for soup and stories, Addison chief among the welcoming committee. Thanksgiving saw 3 tables pushed together, laughter echoing through the halls, every face lit by candle and pride. Amanda, no longer the family's invisible daughter, watched her girls sprint across the maple-scented yard, the stuff of memory giving way to hope. Maybe all it takes is that one stubborn soul, refusing to play by stolen rules. If you've ever carried a truth so heavy it made you stagger, but set it down anyway, this was for you. Because what we protect, we become, and what we reclaim, we can finally call home. Snow melted in thin, shimmering bands across the fields, green buds promising spring's return. Amanda stood on the porch at sunrise, hands wrapped around a chipped mug, scent of strong coffee mingling with thawed earth and the faintest tinge of sun-warmed maple. Addison erupted onto the porch in a burst of pink boots and bedhead, cat clutched tight. "Can I swing before breakfast?" Addison asked, already halfway down the steps. Amanda smiled, real this time. "Only if you come back for pancakes." Addison whooped, laughter carried far by the new, open air. Amanda watched her daughter's legs pump, black hair flying as she arced across the sky, and for once, the world didn't feel like it might crack apart. The house buzzed with quiet purpose. Workmen, neighbors, even Lee stopped by with paints and sandwiches. Cecily, hair cut short and wearing a faded Red Sox cap, showed up twice a week with court updates and gossip, practicing laughter that no longer sounded brittle. "Judge says Peter's still claiming a conspiracy," Cecily reported one afternoon, setting grocery bags on the counter, "but it's over. He signed off on the last asset form this morning. You're officially the owner of everything." Amanda let herself breathe, slow and deep. "Thank you for standing up, for telling the truth." Cecily shrugged, bunched her hands in her pockets. "Thank you for not shutting the door in my face." She glanced around the sun-splashed kitchen. "So, what's next?" Amanda eyed the land spread beyond the kitchen windows, fields, woods, the ridge she'd never known they owned. First, I fix up the house. Then maybe I figure out what to do with all this. Grandpa said never sell to men in white shoes. I think I'll listen. Cecily grinned. He was right about a lot of things. Lee drove out on weekends, her son in tow, yellow legal pads forgotten in favor of muddy treasure hunts. She and Amanda stood leaning against the fence as the children raced, cheeks pink with cold. "You did it," Lee said, bumping Amanda's shoulder lightly. "You know, most people would have run. Family's mess, money, small-town heat. Nobody would blame you." Amanda watched Addison chase Lee's son through last autumn's leaves. Running was easier, but this, she gestured at the house, the land, the laughter, this is ours now. They stood a long moment in companionable silence before Lee coughed and added, "Developer called me again last week. Made an offer even you wouldn't believe. I told him the Heartland isn't for sale, ever." Amanda laughed. "Good, the only thing I'll be planting here is a garden and maybe some apples." That night after everyone left, Amanda tucked Addison into the quilted guest bed, fire snapping quietly. "Mom," Addison whispered, her voice so small Amanda's heart almost broke, "are we safe now?" Amanda brushed hair from her daughter's brow. "Yes, baby, no one's taking anything from us again." A long, thoughtful pause. "Will we always live here?" Amanda let herself imagine it, the seasons turning, the house alive, no need to run. "If you want, it's home now." Addison smiled in the half-light. "I think Grandpa would like that." Amanda hugged her close, letting the truth settle like warm honey. For the first time, she did not brace for bad news. The past had finally released its grip. Spring crept over the hills. Amanda spent evenings poring over her grandfather's logbooks, learning the shape of their strange inheritance. She charted trees to replant, hired a local crew to fix the barn roof, and mapped the old boundary stones with Addison. One afternoon, as they walked the southern fence line, Addison squeezed her hand. "You know the story you tell about secrets in the bones of the house?" she asked. Amanda grinned. "Yes. Do you think there's more?" Amanda looked out at the century-old maples, sun slanting gold through tangled branches. She thought of everything she'd lost, everything she'd claimed. "There's always more. This time we get to write it ourselves." Addison stomped ahead, boots plunging into thaw-soft mud, laughter trailing behind. Amanda followed, every step her own, each spring morning a promise that nothing, no lie, no lawyer, no thief, would ever make her invisible again. That evening, the house filled with the low, humming quiet that Amanda had come to cherish. Addison snored softly in the next room, cat wedged under one arm, while Amanda sat at the kitchen table with a mug of tea and the final logbook spread before her. Flickering lamplight gilded the loops of her grandfather's handwriting. Accounts closed, debts paid, a closing signature. "For you, keep the story honest." The knock on the door startled her. She crossed the creaking floor, peering out to see Lee, bundled in her old barn coat, grinning, an envelope clutched to her chest. Amanda opened the door, couldn't sleep either. Lee waved the envelope. "Thought you'd want to see the official letter. Judge signed it this morning. Title's clean, they can't touch a thing." Relief washed through Amanda like sunlight after rain. I hoped, but..." Lee squeezed her shoulder, voice low. "It's done, Amanda, you brought it all home." Amanda nodded, blinking hard. "You were right, it got ugly, but we didn't let go." Lee laughed, gesturing at the patchwork of sanded floorboards and fresh paint. "And you made a home of it. Look at what you pulled back from the edge." Amanda exhaled, letting years of hurt and fear fall away. "I think I finally understand what Grandpa meant, all that talk about standing for something." Lee hefted her mug. "To standing, to stubbornness that saves the day." They clinked mugs, the laughter chasing shadows to corners. Later, as Lee slipped out into the cool night, Amanda stood on the porch, arms folded against the lingering chill. The yard stretched before her, her land, and with it, a quiet certainty rose in her chest. She had not just inherited an old house and scattered cash. She had claimed a legacy, repaired old wounds, and built something lasting, out of grit, out of truth, out of the bones of the family that had tried so hard to forget her. From the swing, Addison's voice broke the quiet. "Mama." Amanda turned, heart light. "What is it, honey?" Addison crawled into her lap, curling close. "I like it here. I don't feel small anymore." Amanda pressed a kiss to her daughter's hair, the porch creaking gently beneath them. "Neither do I," Amanda whispered, as the stars blinked awake, bright and innumerable above their home.